I loved it immediately. You know, classic script, classic story, drama, great action, very involved, detailed plot, fantastic characters that were fascinating heroes from all different walks of life. But, you know, between the Army, the Navy, the Russians, and it was just such a well put together story. You know, this was a long time ago. Then I thought, this is a movie that is begging to be made and to reinvent, recreate the submarine genre as well, which I hadn't seen one of those for a while. But it just didn't seem relevant at that point because there's nothing really going on with Russia. This is the US and a conflict with Russia. So you weren't feeling connected enough. But then in the last couple of years, with everything that's been going on, suddenly we couldn't make it fast enough. And the fortunate thing was we'd been able to develop it over all these years. We'd always working on it. And updating it and just making it tighter and better. So when this most recent of geopolitical situations arose, we were like, we're ready. Let's go. Now a submarine movie is very relevant, timely. This was a script that you have certain stories that you have for a while. Some of them you never make, some of them come back, and some of them just keep haunting you. And around the time, it was back in 2013, when it really wasn't makeable because it wasn't relevant enough, I actually had a dream. And I'm all about insights, dreams, epiphanies, and I had this dream that I was on a naval base, and I couldn't quite tell if I was making the movie or I was just living on a naval base, but it was the most incredible dream that I felt so connected to everybody. And when I woke up, it was the same thing. I had the same dream about being an actor when I was much younger, but I had this dream, and when I woke up, I went to the producer at the time, Ryan Cavanagh, and I said, we must make this movie. I tell you, it's my destiny to make this film. So I couldn't let it go. And then, of course, with everything that's happened recently, it became very relevant. So I really pushed to have it made. We're dealing with the highest stakes possible. We're underwater in a submarine. We're cut off from communication from everybody. And my character's having to make decisions that will affect the world for the next 100 years, at least. Because if war develops, which is what certain people are looking for, we're talking about a possible nuclear war. I see this movie in some ways as a love story between two captains from the opposite sides of the world, from opposite cultures, essentially enemies, who are both able in their own individual ways to see things differently than everybody else and to see above the normal rules of conflict and engagement. When you're in a situation and you realize that something's about to go down and you shout, battle station, XO's on the phone, battle stations, launch countermeasures, did it, and all these orders get called out and the whole ship is basically chanting and suddenly moving in this beautiful flow and the energy comes from nothing. It's a very powerful experience. It looks great when you see it together, but it felt really great when you were in there as well. And it was that was one of the most fun parts of this movie, was seeing that come together. We had a phenomenal cast of really talented actors. I mean, we got Gary Oldman, who's one of my favorite actors around, playing Donegan, Chief of Staff, who's just such a driving force, just powerful energy throughout the movie. And of course, Common, that I was really excited about getting. He plays Rear Admiral Fisk. And Toby Stevens, who, again, fantastic actor who plays the lead Navy SEAL. And those, I love the Navy SEALs. I mean, Michael Trucco and Ryan McPartlin, Zane Holtz. They bring all the great action to the movie, and the humor and the fun and just the badassery, the kind of stuff I normally do, you know, that I had to hand it over, which was tough, but they did a great job. From the second I met him and we met here in Soho House and we were talking, and it was an interesting start. I learned a bit about myself in this because I thought, okay, you meet a director and he's going to say, this script is very precious to me. I had it for a long time, so what are you going to tell me? Over the years, I've met many directors for this movie. What are you going to tell me that's so great? What are you going to do? And he says, what do you think about this movie? He says to me, what do you think? Like, why are you doing this? And it was really a kind of an assault on my ego, basically. I'm like, why is he asking me? I want to know. And then I realized that's exactly what it was. I was just like I felt challenged intellectually. And he wasn't challenging me. That's just who he is. He's a very intelligent guy who loves to talk things out. And we finished the meeting, and he was here, and he was meeting on a couple of movies. And you know, one of the stories of my career is things that I've done beyond what was necessary, that, for instance, that got me 300 when I called Alan Horn, the head of Warner Brothers, and said, this is my movie. You know that. I'm doing this, right? And he said, come in and speak to me. And I went in and ended up getting the role. And that's what Donovan did. He wrote me a letter after that to say, I don't know if you got my passion. I don't know if you realize how much I want to do this movie. And even I didn't realize the power that can have over somebody, because I read it and I went, wow, I love what he's saying here. And that's what I needed to see.